And we can always rename this at a later time if you would like. I just did Gal Pal Posse live state of current events.
That's good. No pointers for you YouTube's algorithm. That's probably good.
Well, that's what I figured. A, number one, and and B, because well, we didn't really plan this at all in any sort of level. And so we are live now, and I'll just say hello, everyone. My name is Sheila. This is Conscious Conversation Central, and I'm with my gal pal posse tonight, Lisa Flamino Rush and BZ Rieger.
Hi.
And well, well, because I've talked a little bit with you guys off camera, but I haven't been here, so to speak. We covered that off camera. I know we'll probably get to that at some point. Uh, so I'm still not here, sort of now. Last night when we hung out for a little bit was the most here I've been in some time, even Lisa said. So as to where I've been and what I've been doing, well, don't ask me that because I got nothing for you. it's it's another one of those things, man, where it feels like, for all intents and purposes, whatever it is that I am really good at in another realm, for which I share some kind of something with this portion of me in this realm, I've not been here. So my the majority of my focus and attention hasn't been in this realm for the most part. I don't know about everybody else on the planet. I'm sure everybody's having all kinds of different stuff, but I know a lot of us don't want to be here in some ways, maybe because of what we see is, and I'm saying it like that, we see what is going on or not going on.
Yep. The perceived theater going on right now that's being handed to us is yet just a teensy weensy portion of what really is going on.
And I know that's true. That's why with the way I've been feeling on top of all of that, it's made all of that much more surreal for me. So I'm not really sure where we want to go with all of this.
Well, there's a couple places that we could. I mean, one of the things that I said before we hit record was that this is the time. These are moments right now where people will unconsciously or consciously, and could be a combination of both. Maybe they start unconscious and then they go, whoa, wait a minute, and get conscious about it. Selecting whether or not they are, a 4-season awake person or just a, only good summer sunny day awake person.
Yeah, you said that before we started recording, and I said to you, oh, well, I'd like to say that I'm a 4-season awake person, but sometimes I got to wonder because I also know that there's been a whole hell of a lot of stuff that I thought I had a grokking on or of, and I'm also now in these moments very keenly aware that there's so much that I still don't have any sort of grip, grasp, handle on in any sort of imaginable fashion whatsoever.
Which I want to say right now is a very good thing. So thank you.
Okay.
And that's where the two of them disagree a lot. Good for you, Sheila may say, but over
No,
here.
Sheila.
No, that's right. No, you're exactly right. And so would you like to expound a little bit on that, Lisa? Because
I would, because see what you're doing here is, well, I've been feeling this for a little while. I felt it coming on back in July. I began having my own personal conversations with the flame, but really fire element has awakened and enlivened, and she's ready to play. And so a lot of what that is, very consuming, if you will. And she's very specific, and she knows exactly what she's doing, flame. And when she's through dancing with you, there are no parts left that aren't elementally, essentially you left at the end of that dance. So if you aren't intimately acquainted with that part of you, then you are just meeting it now for the first time. I mean, in its entirety, in your own consciousness. Now, if you aren't fully conscious now, then it's hard to stay conscious with it, right? You're sort of in and out, but eventually you'll acclimate and stay. And I think that's where I'm witnessing a lot of things happening to you that I also experience. So I recognize what is happening. And because it's happened to me on more than one occasion or with more than one topic, or however you want to look at it, it's an ongoing dance I've been doing with the flame. The more comfortable I'm getting, because I now know that on the other end of it, I feel more me, more authentic, less doubtful of anything. I don't have to, like for instance, looking out at something doesn't confuse me anymore, even if I don't understand all the linear moving parts and pieces, because I'm in alignment with all of me. I can sense and feel the data and know everything's awesome, and it is as it should be, and so the rest can be let go. And so now I work with that process of that rising up, flotsam and jetsam, and revel and celebrate in the fact that it's burning off now. And in that void space, then you meet you there. So if you can stay there and stay with it and enjoy it, you'll totally be informed. It feels like darkness, right? I keep saying, I can't see. And that's not true at all, because I can see, but it's a whole new way of seeing that feels unfamiliar. And so I think there's more a wrestling now even on a, from a personal perspective, and I'm speaking on that which is happening within me, to also the larger picture, the macro, that which is happening without of me. I can see now the correlation and how it's all the same. It's happening and it's happening, and it's rather simultaneous, and it's also a cycle, that is perpetually moving.
Well, I really like the way that you described that, and it is quite, I would say, in previous instances when well, for one thing, nothing of this magnitude has presented for me heretofore. This is by far the largest whatever. I'm not even sure what to call it. Just,
You mean the not hearness?
yeah, the not here-ness, the what I described to the two of you last night about being uncomfortable in my own body, like very uncomfortable within my own skin, even, you know, it felt very specific, right? I mean, I've had something similar to this before, right? But not to this magnitude and not to, right? And I shared with the two of you that when I ask, you know, because of my own physical, you know, situations and all of that sort of thing, I'm always pretty careful with myself. And when I ask, I shared with you two that I got that I was birthing something new into this physicality that hasn't ever existed here before, a particular vibration or vibratory field or
Frequency.
and I although on one hand that sounds so ridiculous, but on the other hand it feels so exactly smack on perfect, because the moment I heard it, I felt it as right. And so this whole idea that, you know, we're waking up to the truth of who we are, that's really the news above the fold, as you always say, BZ, is huge in and of itself. And because of everything else that's going on the world stage, it's like you know, because I was really unclear a little bit within me, is what I'm witnessing, you know, is that in some way driving this, which I didn't feel like that was the case, you know, with me, because of the
No, well, what everybody can witness, the out there doesn't get out there until we put it out there. And we are only able to put out there what's going on to the magnitude that it is because of the magnitude of what's going on within us now.
right.
Everything is always at the behest of us. Everything is always where we are the driver of that. Even if we want to argue with that and go, no, there's no way, and heck, I would have, you know, done that. No, 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 no. Yeah. So just there's a couple of people asking, Lisa. So when you mentioned the flame, are you talking about the eternal flame, right?
Yes. And that, you know, that, like, a source flame is what
Right.
wants to come out of my mouth.
Yeah, okay. No, well, I know that's what you were talking about,
Purification.
but a bunch
Yeah.
of people were asking, so I wanted to.
Okay.
Though, and then the other way to say what she said, Sheila, is that it dances with you within an inch of your life, and you're the better for it when you step back into an inch and a half of your life for it.
No, that's that's exactly correct. And I wanted to say, because it's coming to me again, to say, and I'm hoping I pulled it up here properly. No, I don't think I did, because and I don't know why, but it just is. Okay, so and it keeps coming back and now it won't let me go. So I'm trying to pull it up. Lisa, your poem is what keeps coming up whenever you talk about the flame.
Mm-hmm.
Your poem about it, I don't know, I feel very I just feel it all around that anytime we ever talk about this in particular.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
that,
because really it's a dance of love. It is pure love, this dance. And it feels really delicious when, um, okay, so at first I just knew it existed, right? And I could tap into it, I could find it and think about it and get a little relief from even just that. And then there was, I could connect with it accidentally at first, but then that drove me to search it out. And then I could visit there, but I couldn't sustain it for very long. And then I began to sit a spell. And then, now I rarely leave
Well,
the company of this union, this sacred union within this energy that wants to dance, like you said, that will dance you within an inch of your life, right? But it is of pure love,
mhm.
um,
well,
with such an intensity that it feels overwhelming, which is why it's hard to sustain.
well, I pulled it up again and I'd like to read it really quickly if you don't mind.
No, go right ahead.
Um, this is a poem that Lisa wrote, and I will, of course, put a link to that in the show more section of this recording. And it is, I am the pool of water in love with the flame, yearning to dance with the flame, become one with the flame. Can it happen? Asks the pool of water. Yes, it can, answered the flame. The dance begins. I am the music this divine, sacred dance creates. I am that I am. And I love that. I've pointed to it more than once too, because I really feel like when you wrote that, it was right around the same time, actually, that I was pointed to, directed to, whatever. Lisa Risenberry came into, and Azoth started coming to the forefront, which is ancient alchemy. It's all about the, exactly what it is that that we're doing here. And so I think that's, I've loved it ever, and we
Yeah,
didn't
me
have that.
too. Because when you think about that, both equally powerful, so deserving of respect, and could so easily consume one another. And but to be in that sacred dance where each is allowed to be self and express fully in one another's company, and you know that dance that allows each one to be whole and yet separate and individual, outside, to exist outside of the union as well. I don't know, it's just
Well, it's what we're seeing too, because of that you described it as as love, and it's another way to say that it's love absolute, and oftentimes it can be misconstrued as not much of love at all, and that's because of the distortion. It's the bits and pieces of distortion. Sometimes, okay, they're huge, 50-foot skyscrapers of distortion, but and when those get burned off, when they and it's a plasma energy vibration that burns them off, so there is no actual scorching. It is just it's a dematerializing of that which had coalesced in an energetic frequency, which was a distortion of the truth of who we are. Look around, that's what we see going on right this moment. And so that's another reason why I say, the four seasons, someone who's awake, it isn't, being awake is not um it's a knowing, and you may get new things or get more revelations, which are their self revelations. Actually, we may look out there and say, well, I read this here, I saw this there, whatever, but we can't see it. We don't call it forth to us unless we can reflect that back. So we are actually educating, edifying ourselves, right? Because we reflect it out to us and bring a person, bring an event, bring, a video, bring whatever it is back to us to give us that message, to describe it in a way that if we're only paying attention on that level, that our linear mind, right, our human cognitive mind can then comprehend and decode it that way. We're actually getting that information and getting that reflection back to us all the time in a kinetic sense, right? In a way that is emotional and ethereal and on all of our body's levels. But so often we're not present, we're not noticing, we're the antithesis of noticing. And so then it has to be dumbed down in the sense, or sharpened is another way, it gets pokey, so you get, can you feel me now? I'm poking you enough times,
I'll
and
make a fine point of it for you.
And so right this moment there are a lot of beings that are just thrilled with well, let me say that there's a lot of beings who, yes, there's a cadre of beings that are thrilled with what's going on. They think, although they're incredibly nervous because the next shoe that they thought was going to drop hasn't dropped yet. So, okay, so we'll set those aside for a minute. Now, on the rest of those, let's say those who are either sound asleep or are sunny day awake, right? Or four season awake. Um, the four seasons awake and who know what is going on, who have the knowing and can feel it, and may have other things that are reflecting back to them to codify that knowing, right, and expand it in other different nuanced ways, are very excited at what is going on right now, and thrilled, and it's lacing up the happy dance shoes and let's do this. And it's also getting on the work jacket and the shovel and the metaphorically and
Wading boots.
literally to do all of that. So I myself am ecstatic. In fact, I wish we'd hurry up a little bit. But so other people, they're there's a lot of people, and it's palpable actually, that they're devastated, that they just can't believe it, like what the F happened. And that's what we're talking. So actually, you wouldn't think so, but they actually are very integral to each other, because the out there doesn't get out there until we put it out there. And so if we can just stop for a moment and center ourselves, and then just notice, don't label, don't get head up, don't just notice. And what do we see? If you see there's I've got a couple of things that President Trump has, their notes on addresses that he's made, or the actual words on some. I didn't have time to transcribe them all, but of his words. But if you notice just that, or if you watch a particular video about maybe it's a 1-minute video of something that's going on, yesterday at the Capitol, or various things, and you're noticing it, you're not reacting to it, you're not getting involved with it, you're not trying to parse it out, you're just simply noticing it, like if you're at the beach and you put your feet in the water and you just let the wave, maybe hits you in the shin and just rolls over your feet, and you can, if you notice, you can feel your toes maybe sink in a little, you can feel the water, part of the water is a little bit warm, part of it, ooh, that's chilly, whatever it is, and then it rushes back out, and you can feel the sand moving actually quite a ways away from you from the pull of the water and all those kinds of things. So you could describe it one way, well, the water's cold, or the water's warm, or you could, but if you just notice, you could, and you let yourself if you had a way that was, you were just listing the things without diving into them, it feels cold, all these kind of, you would have, and if someone was transcribing all those next to you, they would have pages and pages and pages and pages of the nuances of what you are noticing and giving voice to in just that one moment of, it could be just in the one snapshot of the wave rolls in and it rolls out. And just in that snapshot, the list is incredibly long and nuanced of what you're noticing. And then you could then play in and taking one piece of that, then you notice more and more and more. So for an example, if you look at the 1 minute 1 second, which I will put up, I downloaded it so that because Twitter made it go away, and then I re-uploaded it to the IUV Twitter feed so you can see it on there. It's yesterday evenings. It was released yesterday about 4:30 Pacific time, so late in the afternoon, Eastern time, from President Trump, and it's a 1 minute 1 second statement. It's done in the portico in the Rose Garden area, but it's not giving you any landmarks in there. So that's one thing where in that 1 minute 1 second energetic envelope, just be with it, just notice it. And what do you notice? And you might do Lisa's technique of automatic writing and just write down, you notice this, are there birds, is this, how's the light, where's this direction of the sun coming from, what's he wearing, what's the sense, what's the energy, the first thing that he's saying, all the way through. And you're going to have lots of pages of what you're noticing. And then you can look at each thing that you're noticing, and then you could then use your own discernment, your own intuitive, because you're not small and you're not missing anything. We're these incredible decoders. So then you pull and you go, oh, and then you take that and you're now putting that into your, you're making this wonderful sauce of, you see the other events that have gone on, or the other pieces, if you're awake and different things that are happening under the scenes. Now you can start to paint those in and see where you can make little, little character sketches here and there of what's going on and put it together, right? So that you can do with all sorts of things. And when you do that, even if you just do it in a very cursory way to begin with, the information that 1 minute and 1 second imparts to you, it compared to when you first may have watched it and you were like, because a lot of people were, is amazing. And it's vast. The two are vastly different. And then you go, oh, well, wait a minute. Oh, wait a minute. So we got something here now, right? Hey, yeah. Okay. And then you lead it into everything else. So the next thing, like I said, and I'll put on the IUV, put it when we put up this post, but it's already on the IUV Twitter feed, because it's there are a few other versions out there as well. Someone did the same thing that I did. They downloaded it, put it back up. Then in this morning early, it was about, I think it was about 6:50 Eastern time that this was out, and it was not out through Twitter. It was out given through the press office, which was then handed out to certain. It was interesting. It was handed out to just certain news outlets, not the usual suspects, and then I guess it was picked up from there, and it didn't go out through Reuters. So that was interesting. And these are President Trump's specific words. So again, notice. What do you notice? Even though I totally disagree with the outcome of the election and the facts bear me out, nevertheless, there will be an orderly transition on January 20th. I have always said we would continue our fight to ensure that our legal votes were counted. That only legal votes were counted. Trump said in a statement, so I just pulled this from the article, while this represents the end of the greatest first term in presidential history, It's only the beginning of our fight to make America great again. So again, you could look at that and you could go, wow, we're screwed. Or you could look at that and go, what the hell happened? Or you could look at that and go, all right, now we're getting somewhere. Now the party's getting rolling. Now, not only can I put on my happy dance shoes and stuff, but I better have my work boots that can fold right up over that because we got a lot of stuff to do. And it's exciting what we're going to do, what we're going to clean up, sweep away, polish up, and what we're going to bring into fruition. And the sky is the limit, and we're always going to want, from my perspective, reach forward, not back, and how we're creating. We're not pulling in our quantum toolbox of creation from, well, this was there, so we'll bring it and fix it. We're going to, bring the new creation forward. So again, that's just something that everybody can do, but it takes on a complete, and this is not just the case with Trump and what's going on right now. It's just so visceral and has such a huge impact right this moment for everybody, that they're good ways to do it, but it's part of that. What's actually all of that, but it may be easier to describe it as part of it, is exactly what Lisa's talking about, is that dance with the flame, with the eternal flame, because it's within the eternal flame is you. We think it's out there, or it's this, or it's up in the mountain, and all those kinds of things, and it is and it's not. It's right here, but we can only notice it and come into be subject to it and communion with it and connection and coherence with it when we begin to notice it and we pull it. And then it gives us, that light gives us the eyes to see and the ears to hear. And that's how we can navigate what's going on.
Well, that's that's I love all of that, and I got lost a little bit in that. I'm not gonna kid you. I did another one of those things, man, where I just went totally away. It's I've shared that with you guys before, that and when that happens for me, it's a little disconcerting because I have no clue as to what happens or why. And apparently it doesn't matter if I'm doing something.
Right.
There's that.
And you can see you do it.
Mm-hmm.
Can you?
Oh yeah. So I saw you leave, and I think I heard one or two people say, "What's the matter with Sheila?" But and then you came back.
Mm-hmm.
But since you're always recording within your field, you could actually call back exactly, in the part that you would say, you went away someplace from this particular energetic envelope. You could pull it back into you.
I'm sure you're right.
I want to comment on something. This is kind of interesting. Because, as you know, I've been bearing witness to Sheila's process for some days now. I feel like it's been about 2 weeks.
Yeah.
At least. But BZ was kind of doing a nice job there describing it a little bit about the not being able to, we can't, okay, so we're going to a whole brand new place now. All the old stuff is done and we're moving forward. So if we're real accustomed to reaching back into our old bag of tricks, right? Before we set out to plan or maneuver or do our next thing. And your bag of tricks has been burnt away by the flame. you could feel like disassociated, a bit floaty, not quite sure uh, what to do in this scenario because what you used to do isn't here anymore, but you can't even remember what that used to do, what because it's gone. Like it's
Well, because you, if you remember, you'll remember it in your membranes, and that's not allowed. So
yeah, I'm having trouble hearing you now too.
Yeah, just a little bit.
yeah, I was saying if you remember, try to remember it, you will remember it in your, in the membranes of your being, and that doesn't work anymore.
No, exactly right. So if that's what you're trying to do out of just say habit, you'll like forget what you're doing or not quite or feel
Oh, well,
also too, I noticed that this happened during this conversation now this time. I've been noticing it at home too. Um, it's almost like certain subject matter can trigger this. Um, because it's wanting the subject matter is wanting to bump you up past a certain default set point, shall we say? Um, and there's nothing there really to stop it anymore, other than I want to call a reflex. I almost am calling to mind when someone loses a limb, there can sometimes be this after effect that they'll call
Phantom.
phantom limb, where you feel as though the limb is there and yet it's not. But it's more a trained habit of doing a certain thing. And so your brain just goes there before you consciously think, move pinky finger, if that's making any sense. And so that cap, that phantom program, stopper, however you want to look at it, glass ceiling, is actually gone. So you sort of get lost because there's nothing to push against, and you can sort of, oh, pop right out. Because now you have available all that is in the inside because the caps are gone. And it's a new way to navigate, and it takes a certain trust and comfort. And until you and I feel that some of what I've been witnessing you processing through is some of that, because it feels as though you're acclimating. And there was a point where I was really concerned from the
it was
outside.
like I was drowning.
Yeah, a little bit. I wasn't quite sure what was happening. But the data, the energetic data was that you're solid and getting more so. And so it looked and felt incongruent, but that is not at all unlike what we're seeing on the world stage.
Yes, because a lot of people are feeling adrift right now. A lot of people have been using someone else as their touchstone. Someone else as their, well, I got to turn on it. Oh my God, Twitter is taking that off, or they banned POTUS for 12 hours, or whatever it is. And so then something hits you, and some people, they don't know what to do, or they don't, who's going to tell them what is happening, or how do they figure this out? And hey, you know what? It's really cool. You're not small, and you're not missing anything. And you actually are being asked to do all of these things because it's the truth of who you are. And it's also compelling you to realize that something I've been saying for years and years and years, but you're essential, absolutely essential to bringing this all home, to bringing all of this to fruition. Every single being is. And they're doing it in a whole myriad of ways that are unique to them. And
Mhm.
so when you get in this adrift period, like, you know, what do I do? Or where do I go? Or maybe I should jump ship here and go over there, or whatever it is. and you forget to go, well, hang on, wait a minute, I'm still here. What do I know? And like I talked about, you notice something and then you're dancing with that whole, you've got amazing telemetry, you've got amazing decode on board, you have amazing um, energetic frequency recall, and actually um, if you would allow yourself to feel into it, the stream of data and how things are flowing, because everything is very clear now, how it's, what register in frequency that it's in, whether it's polarized negative or positive. You could say good or evil, you could say super constricted with fear or expansion. There's lots of naming you could give to it if that floats your boat, but just basically feeling into it. And so you have an inordinate amount of tools already. Now you could hone those and you could bring more, online so that they're active and useful for you. But it starts with just noticing some of the things. And the some of the other notes that I wrote down here were just notes for the last address that President gave, which was at 4:15, 4:10 Eastern. I'm sorry, Pacific time. So that would have been 7:15 ish this afternoon, this evening, and um, same thing. You could go and it's on his Twitter account. He's back on that now. You could go on that and watch it, and you could just watch it first and then go, okay, now I'm going to actively notice it, however you want to do it. But notice what's happening, and you can, just maybe have, everybody's going to have a different technique for do it, but just, as he says, because he's delivering, giving voice to it, it's a heartful way. There's, basically different lines, and he's got different rhythm and cadence to it. So if you take each one that he talks about at a time, and is there a word or a feeling or something, either a specific word in the sentence, right, or feeling that comes out, because let that be, that's your decoder ring, that's your capability to do that. Let those jump out at you, and then look back at what you're showing you about this moment, because each being has their own questions that they're uncertain about, or wanting, more information about, or more detail, or that mirrors more poignantly with something happening in their own neighborhood, sort of a thing. And so this will help you do that. And um, given given the just um, cosmically delicious place where we are right this minute, because we got us all here. I mean, that's probably really important to harp on, that we wouldn't be here if everything was going to hell in a handbasket, and we're all going to be Marxist, and that's it, and everybody who's been out there and who's been outspoken is going to get off because they're going to come for you. If that was the case, then actually we wouldn't have gone down this road to the point of this road that we went to. You would have had that happen to you a long time ago. But and that can know that for certain, because you made this happen. You made this be visible, even though there are still many who can't quite see it yet. Made it be visible in even a sloppy way, because of all of the expansion that each one of us has gone through and what we've put out there. So, and when you can claim that and own that and give voice to it, so it's reassuring for you and a comfort for you, and then you can build on that, you actually, which is quite a delicious thing, you magnify that. So you are hyper accelerating your own awareness of that, and you're actually amplifying your signature. So the thing that I'm talking about, that's your signature, that's making this happen, that is absolutely essential to us bringing this all home, right? when you take time to nurture that and you amplify that, you're actually magnifying the role that you're playing. So you're making like 3 or 4 times of you that moment, having it go through. And so if you're thinking, well, uh-oh, what are we going to do now? And who's got the answers, and where's this and where's that? And you go, hang on, wait a minute. Even if you don't know it, have that knowing of it, even if you don't really believe it, but just borrow it for a moment. Borrow that supposition for a
Play
moment
with it.
and play with it and go, well, hang on now. I mean, it could be, like ridiculous stuff, but I don't like where I think that we are. And if I truly have something that I can do about it, I mean, if I'm essential to this, right, get fired up. If I'm essential to this and I have the thing and I'm sitting on my hands going, but I can help to make this come to fruition, then I better get off my ass and start doing it. Right?
Yes.
In that,
No, you're touching on something that's really important. I keep finding myself saying this. I have a senior in college. And so we've been having a lot of conversations as of late and about this anxiety. And I know I don't have the only college student loaded with anxiety right now. So this is something that's worthy of our attention in this moment of now. That what I do is when I feel that anxiety and it makes me feel helpless, instead, knowing what I know, like what BZ was speaking on there about the amplification, is that really what I want to put out on my clean slate to experience for myself? More anxiety? Do I want to amplify anxiety? No. So I find that which I do want to amplify, right? And do that. And the trick there is to feel as though you already have it, that it's not lacking. So this is a game that really helped me with this. So I would say, okay, well, a friend once said to me, this had a really big impact on me, because I said, I don't even know where to begin. And she said to me, well, if you did know, where would that be?
Yep.
And so that right there shifted my perspective. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, let's try this on. If I knew, okay, let's pretend that I have all the answers. What would that be? And really play with that. And so for me, writing it down, having that conversation with myself on paper. So ask myself, I attack whatever situation it is with the knowing that I know the answer. And so I ask to be shown the answer. And then I just write down the impressions, no matter how silly. I mean, because sometimes it felt like nonsensical, nothing stuff. And what I've learned is nothing's nonsensical and nothing is nothing. As nothing is everything. So there you go. So pay attention to all of it and just, really allow it. Just be okay with what comes and write it down. And after doing that for a while, I was able to see how accurate I was. And maybe even in the moment, like I would get the data and it didn't feel accurate to me at all. And so it would take 2 or 3 days before that data would play out to me in a way that I go, oh my gosh, I was right about that. That was data and I did know it. You know what I mean? It really inspired me that, oh my gosh, it isn't just a platitude I already know. And if I did know, what would it be? I really did know. And I was blocking myself from that information by pretending I didn't, or amplifying the signal that I don't know, because the universe says yes to whatever my signal is. So I recommend that one, just playing with it and see what you get, like today, for instance, I was noticing, because we've been doing a lot of sitting in silence around here, which is new for us, right? And so in all of this silence, I've been noticing so much more. I've been hearing frequencies in my head for a while. And at first I thought it was something outside of me I was hearing. I am now realizing that I'm hearing life itself from within me. I'm just hearing the frequencies. It's data streams, and I'm picking up on it. So it used to frustrate me and make me feel miserable and sometimes anxious and even angry when I was first coping with my newfound ability. But now, so today, I noticed, boy, there's been something going on for the last few days. And, now it's like it was really sort of amplified because I had had several days of silence. And suddenly it became louder, the change, even though it wasn't louder, but it amplified itself in some way. And so I sat with it and I had a conversation with the frequency itself. And it had a lot it wanted to share. And it just opened right up. And I just saw, felt, sensed, understood a whole plethora of things that were happening simultaneously, like what was happening to me in my body, for instance. I got a great deal of insight as to what was happening with Sheila sitting right next to me. I feel like Sheila and I were in this whole other reality having this huge discussion. And it was kind of funny because she, as you see, she fades in and out, and she was gone. And I was sitting by myself having this conversation with the frequencies in the room that were trying to get my attention, is the way I want to feel it, or describe it, is how it felt to me. And because there was so much silence, it was just really easy to, be right there and respond immediately. And because of that, we had this beautiful, me and the cosmos, had this beautiful moment of, I gleaned so much data from just hearing something inside of me sitting in this room quietly. And it was funny because when it was complete, that frequency, the one in particular that I needed to have the conversation with, receded. It didn't tone down. It was always there, and it had been there, and I had noticed it being there, and but I was not acknowledging it in the way that I needed to in order to get the data, the gift it was offering me. And so the space of the silence created the space for me to notice and then unpack the deliciousness of that conversation. So this is where we are now. And there isn't anything that doesn't want your conscious focus and attention. So whatever you are doing, it doesn't matter the what, it is the how. And as long as you are doing it with all of you, with your pure focus and attention, you are limitless and unstoppable. And oh my, the influence and the elements, the universe surrenders itself to you in that moment.
Yes, because you can
And so my faith and my behavior is my surrendering to the universe, if that makes any sense. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I was just saying that what you were describing is you're surrendering to yourself and to what's going on, and it's at your service. It's there to do that because it's at
reciprocating.
Yes. Yeah. And so someone had said, okay, well, cool, but right now, hey, we're all about to go to hell in a handbasket, so can we
are we though?
Right. But
a data read tells a different story.
Well, not only that, in the notes that I took on the last information, there may be something else, but the last before I jumped on here with with us together from President Trump. It's very, very, very good stuff. And like I said, take a deep breath, be relaxed, comfort yourself. All that stuff is in there. Be excited that we've come to the end of one thing. We're starting up this next thing in a way that will be visible. And then we got to really, change your clothes and get on the work boots or the work shorts, or however, whatever your thing. You got a painting shirt on or whatever it is, because there's going to be all that kind of stuff to do. And it's very evident, very exciting. And so when there seems to be a little bit of impatience because I'm freaked out that there's going to be all the things that Biden said he was going to do, and this, that, and the other thing, and what we're discussing here, which may seem to be ethereal, that seem to be woo-woo shit, it seem to be okay, but not now, because there's important stuff going on, right? Well, I've said it a lot of times, I'll say it again. The reason that we got to where we are, and the forces against that, that are against you, that you're saying, that you're pointing out, because why you're so head up about it, they're experts at the woo-woo shit. And if you don't think so, check into it. That's why you are where you are, with where we all are, with what's going on, because of that. And they wield it masterfully. And here's the news bulletin. So do you. But you've got to pick it up and do it intentionally, on purpose, consciously now. You can't be just, hitting the button accidentally when you reach, to get the TV remote or the bowl of chips or whatever else that it is. And we're bringing it down because you actually are that frigging good and masterful. Even in the slapdash, haphazard, most of the time not doing it consciously, jerking around sort of a way. Now, that's pretty great news, right? I mean, but look at that. That's great news. You are that friggin' good, not even knowing what the hell you're doing, or doing it consciously and pissing and moaning and whining most of the time, right? Well, and this is how good you are. Oh my God, imagine if you focused and you noticed and you actively danced with it. Okay, man, now we're cooking.
That's why I said it's very clear to me. I don't understand a whole lot of what's been going on with me, except for this one thing that I do. I'm very, very, very clear on. My thoughts and feelings, my noticings in regards to the fact that we are multidimensional beings and that we do things in other realms simultaneously. This whole experience that I've been having just brings that much into this realm for me, because that is absolutely what is taking place. Whatever it is that I'm doing requires my full on attention in that realm.
Well, and there's another piece to it, Sheila, that I want to bring up.
Okay.
We are transmuting bodies too. We're changing things on a molecular level. There are things that our souls can handle, subject matter, things that we can do. The body is not quite at a frequency that is compatible.
Right.
So sometimes the body needs to sit this dance out, right? And just have a shutdown moment and be. And it's all part of that acclimating so that it can be fully, we've seen it. Look, we've seen it. with DZ's little race car there. What do you call that? Golf cart. Or a computer. Sometimes our energy can morph and change frequency on a dime, and things that are entrained to working with us on one frequency are going to have difficulties when we switch gears. And our bodies are kind of similar in that way. And physically, there's going to be some kind of like, think about scuba divers. They have to be careful. You can't just come up from the deep like that, without doing it in a mindful fashion so that you keep the integrity of the physical system. It has needs too. So it's really an intricate dance. But getting back to that moment too that I was describing earlier, Sheila, where sort of had the conversation with you and the frequencies and all of that. When that completed, and I was just kind of sitting here, marveling, but that completed, and the first thing I did is look at Sheila, because she had disappeared, and that's why we were just sitting in silence then. So we were just sitting there, and that's why I had all this space for this thing to happen. But so I looked at her immediately, and I'll be darned if Sheila didn't open her eyes and look at me. And I said, "You got it?" And you went, "Yes." I'm like, I don't know what I'm supposed to get or what. But I felt like you literally acknowledged me, and you literally acknowledged that we were in this room together, just sitting here doing nothing. And, right, we were having conversation with the galaxies all at the same time. And a part of you totally was conscious and aware. And another part of you is trying to catch up desperately.
Well, yeah,
Making new synapses at every turn.
because everybody's multidimensionality is showing, and sometimes they, Sheila say, go someplace, and then like, okay, where the hell was I? Right? Sometimes they look at stuff going on, and they're like, what happened? Or
Yeah.
what did I miss? Or how could that have happened? Because for a moment we've bifurcated, we've slid out of being in alignment with our multidimensional stuff, and we're just looking at it from linear. This is what, if you want to understand grok and somehow get a firmer grasp on what you see unfolding of the unwinding and the unbinding, right, and all of this collapsing, you've got to look at it from a multi-dimensional way, because if you don't, you will miss 99% of the conversation, number one. Number two, you're going to feel bereft and fearful, because you're only going to then pick up on what is being telegraphed to you as the script from those who used to control things and wanted to desperately try and get their Marxist thing in and enslave you in a whole new way that was so much more enhanced than what they were doing already, or just off you because you just not only a useless eater, but you're being damn friggin' annoying because you're able to wake up too much. So, out of here. So when you look at that for a minute, that's why I say the noticing, because it actually, in that noticing, you're not freaking out, you're not describing, you're not trying to label things or you're just simply noticing. And in the act of that, it actually brings all of you back in center online. So all of your sensory array is an entanglement with itself. And then you can see all of the pieces from the very linear, could be strictly linear, would be an apt way to describe it, all the way up. Because That's why they keep talking about 5D chess, because it is all of these kinds of things. And the moves are being made on all of these different levels, some simultaneously, some certain here, some up here, just individually, but they have dovetails that go in quantum ways, right? And then multidimensional ways, which is more of the toroidal sphere. And so one of the things I just want to share here is that some of the notes from the last address that President Trump gave, I think it was 4 minutes, maybe not quite. And he goes through, I want to start by talking about the heinous acts that were done, and that were term of law and order, and that those and I wasn't able to write it down quickly enough, but I might go down and transcribe it, but go and listen. Towards the beginning, he's talking about defiled the seat, and there's a specific word. So he's actually in this talking about, one could say, well, yesterday there was all these people up on the hill there was people who belonged there. There were people who were citizens who belong there. There were protesters who belong there. There were Antifa, right? All these kinds of things. And actually this address that he gives in a very beautiful, succinct, and multidimensional way is hitting all those points. So it's talking to and calling out all of those different factors, factions, entities, and the whole coalescence of it. So you could pay attention that there's the line where he says that, that defiled the seed of. So there's something that it's the, I'm not good with grammar, but it's the object of the sentence, right? So what the who's the main character in the sentence is that word. But pay attention to that, right? I don't want to guess at it because it's important. And then, he's talking about this is because he's actually referring to two very different entities, groups of entities in that word. So I'll leave it at that. Go and listen to it, and you will start to get the noticing that I'm getting. You'll start to get your multi-dimensional vision on and describe it. Then, tempers cooled, need to get to the business at hand. I've used every legal, so again, there's so much information in this 4-minute thing. I mean, do you have can you call up on your thing and see if we have the transcript yet? It wasn't out when we got on, but I was
Okay, where would that
go
be?
to whitehouse.gov/news. And if it's there, it'll be President Trump's remarks this afternoon. It'll be today's date. It'll be after the secretary's remarks, which were only a 1 minute 3 seconds earlier today.
Nope.
No. Okay. So go and listen to it. So he kind of goes to this, but he's then talking about every. So I'll just give you some things to highlight. So every legal avenue. Okay, so that is an incredibly specific. So the specificity and particularity in that phrase, in that sentence, and what he's telling you, us, what he's telling those who are totally unawake or may think that, Joe Biden is the greatest thing since sliced bread, and yay, he's, now going to run the country. And he's talking to the proverbial they. Okay, so in that and saying very distinctly different things in that and conveying different things. So that would be another one. Same thing, because a lot of this is with the words that you're actually hearing, right? That he's giving voice to, but the toning of it and the cadence that he's doing it and the he's giving specific inflection to certain things. So notice all of that. He talks about now Congress has certified the results. So again, there's a wealth of conveyance in that particular phrase, right? Or line if it was printed out. And again, he's talking specifically to them, the theys. He's talking to the general people of the United States or even the world who really aren't that awake to what's going on. And he's talking to you. And he's given you very specific specificity and particularity what that now means, what has now been triggered. Then he goes on to say a new administration and follows that line. So one may go, oh, a new administration. Well, accept that, come out of the head, and one administration only has 4 years. And then the new administration comes in, could be the same person. It's still a new administration, right?
Yeah.
But when we get all head up and we're freaking out and we're feeling adrift and we forgot that we've got the best bloody expert in all the galaxies that works for us. It's right there in your shirt, just notice it. Then you go, oh, wait a minute, okay. So the new administration. Then the next in there is we now turn all of our attention. I'm paraphrasing, but it's pretty close. We now turn all of our attention to a smooth, orderly, seamless transition of power. I don't think that there's been a more loaded statement that has been made in the last 2 days than that one. We get another one further down, but that's communicating a wealth of information to those same audiences that I've just been enumerating. Wealth of information. And there's a lot of detail to each of those constituencies that he's speaking to in that. So if you notice that and feel into it and just, hit the pause button on the thing and feel and go, okay, now what did he say? What do I know? What do I feel? Show me. I get video, so however you do it, but show me, ask. Have you been asking? Show me. What's the video of that? What's the unfolding of that? What is the playbook of that? And then, maybe sit down while you're doing that because you're going to rock yourself when you get the answer. Okay. Then he spends a couple of lines about COVID and again, there's some things that that coming together and beating this. Again, there's a modifier word that he uses in there. So again, very, very clearly talking to at least three, three. So the general audience, they, and then we're kind of the, those who are awake, paying attention, are not quite so high there. Although some of it, if you're concerned about having to, put a diaper on your face and all that kind of stuff. So there's another thing then it goes in about and how it can only be defeated by working together. And this is another huge, huge passage in this, talking about the sacred bonds of love and loyalty. And that's an energy frequency. And he is very clearly bringing in the multidimensionality of what is not only going on, but what is required. What is essential? What is actually the tool that gets your magic wand to, get the right resonance so you can just go around bing, bing, binging things and bringing them into existence. And that's that. So again, if we're on the feeling adrift and, oh my God, and what are we going to do? And we're screwed sort of a thing, it's a good tip off that you're not in the bonds of love and, you know, loyalty to yourself, loyalty to the light, loyalty to love, loyalty to the whole truth of the expansive energy, right? Because what is loyalty? It's where there's a bond, there's a reciprocation. You meet one another, you're subject to one another. There is a conveyance and a cherishing of that connection. Well, if you don't do that for you, you sure as hell can't do it for anybody else. So then he talks about serving as president has been the greatest honor. So that was a line again for, in general for all. It seemed to have more of a flavor, particularly to, given the way he then goes to the next part, particularly to the citizens, the population at large, whether there was he was thought of as Orange Man bad or anything else, and really the only line you needed in it, even though all the richness that I described in it, is the very last one that says, to my followers, you know, and he has a little bit, you know, I feel you, and we've journeyed together, but the part that really is the icing on that is our incredible journey is only just beginning. You know, in the language of that behind you, boom, because there is a lot of stuff going on. So, you know, I mean, that's a tool that you can use for, because there's going to be days and moments and hours and stretches of time that it's going to be helpful to decode all of what's going on, not only for the seemingly bad, upsetting, uncertain stuff, but your role in creating the new and fixing the new, and not looking behind your shoulder and going, oh, well, hey, we got these worn out, rusty old things. No, let's pull this one. This is how we can work. This is the truth of who we are. Now coming in this shirt going, okay, Shazam, I'm here. Yeah, I know how to do this. Let's do it. And we're co-creating it in the moment. And, you know, the other thing that goes with that is there's a lot more stuff happened yesterday than just a whole pile of people coming from all over the country and the world to come to Washington, D.C., and President Trump giving a long speech, and he was a half hour to 45 minutes late for giving it. And then Prince doing certain things with the letter, and then the whole start with the show, and then all the things, and then someone broke the glass, and then they broke in, and it was all, you know, cameras just in the right places at the right time to you know, when someone forgot his lines and his moves, action, and the security guy, again, notice, go, you know, watch all that. And then everybody's fleeing and they're pulling their gas masks from under their desks and into this, and then they're supposedly taken to a secure location, but they never really left. And then they come back and they're all ushered in by the National Guard. So the National Guard is protecting them from all the bad people that are out there that have taken over the Capitol building. And they actually also have them all surrounded so they can't go anywhere and all that. So there's a whole lot of stuff there going on. And just because Potus wasn't tweeting away, you know, on Twitter, because that's really all he done for the last 4 years, right? Let's face it, it's just tweet on Twitter. That's shut down. So where is he? He has not been in the state of DC for all this time. You know, so he's been in my busy coming up with things, and he's been driving the ubiquitous they absolutely nail biting batshit crazy, because the shoe hasn't dropped yet, man. In fact, they thought this was these notes here where they thought this thing here was a shoe coming out, and they're like, what do we do? What do we do with this, right? Make no mistake, the shoe is revving and all the things, but there are so many options available. that will pull through, and it's, the masks are off and people are revealing themselves all over the place. And so the concrete, just from a linear perspective, the concrete evidentiary, irrefutable on multimedia levels. So direct wire transfers or cables or directly out of their mouth on video or audio or a combination of all those things, forensic data on all sorts of levels, is so painted a picture and captured and secured that it is particularly delicious because it will get every last dust bunny of the Illuminati, the deep state, whatever you're framing them as, the whole enchilada, not just the lower management or maybe the middle management, the whole enchilada, right from the top, right to the very king pins, queen pins that there are all the way through. But it's complicated because it isn't just been the routine go to. They were not only complicit but actively, engaged in, but they were also actively engaged in the whole thing. But it's gone around that it includes direct kin, direct brethren, direct allies. So it has to be handled in a way that it can be all pulled out in a way that it finishes it. Because when it comes, there won't be anything left off the table to not be disclosed. Everything will be disclosed. So different people who have researched different things, that you talked about the rabbit hole that started you, Sheila, and all this different. So some have a really good knowledge of the whole gambit, but maybe not as drilled down in each one, because that was their focus, was to have the whole gambit thing right, and maybe a couple layers instead of 52 million layers deep, or they knew some of the pockets of the layers 50 million deep, but they don't know all the nuances, right? Some people have drilled just down this one vein and what it was. So I'm talking, I mean, you know what I'm talking about. So it could be, I don't know how much YouTube pays attention to us, but pedophilia, all sorts of things, but all of it. So every single one of those venues, and above the fold stuff as well.
Right.
And all of those will come out. They have to, and they will come out very, very quickly. So think about things, if you can remember at all, empathize at all with yourself as you were learning these things, and it's hard because, as for the most part, as you get rolling and waking up, the new thing comes. There is no arguing with it when it comes. It's just, and you got it and you go, okay. And it doesn't mean you like it, but you put that puzzle piece there, right? But
Right.
you already had that loosening up, that shattering, and then coming back into alignment and coherence and going, okay, yes, I actually remember this, right? Sort of thing. But you had it. So you had that first, right? And then you had the other things, and you would have moments where something new or another deeper part, maybe another vein, if you're thinking about, like, if you're mining for gold or some kind of jewels or something, and you hit a vein, and it's deep vein, and there was nothing, and all of a sudden it's there, and it's rich, and it has all these facets to it. So like that, you were aware of that vein, you knew that, and now you've hit another big mother lode in that vein, and it overwhelms you for a minute. It just, it takes you right to your knees the very first time, and right. Okay. So if you've experienced that, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you haven't, well, get a tissue because you will. But what I'm saying is, so that, right. So you had that thing, but most of these people who don't have a clue, who have been so righteous in their not having a clue and so good at shaming you for the mask wearing or a whole host of other things, will get that crack, and it will be not only a crack or a fissure or a tiny little thing, it will be a shattering, and then it will be another shattering, and they'll only be a minute or two or three or a half a day apart, if that, and it'll be on the entire thing. Now some can go from totally oblivious to, all the different stages to, yep, and see it in a blink.
Yeah.
And some will have a very long time, and a lot will be leaving the planet. But that is reality now that is coming up right this minute. Think of all the people who truly think that, Biden is the president-elect, and because they're them and how they hold things in the world, they're excited with that. They're comfortable with that. They're okay, good. Finally, things are going to get back to normal.
Right.
And,
Oh.
it's a good thing the shock is coming, because that other shock and material would be one corker of a thing to live through.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. It's, this is the ending of the, as President Trump says in here, we've used every legal avenue available, and that's a signal, because there were different channels and different slots to go through, and so that's showing you that that's an end to one phase and the commencement, of the next phases and the building phase as well.
Well, isn't it too true too as well? Something just to, on the aside, to keep in the background or whatever, and the thought of things. What Lisa pointed out to me this morning too was that, because in a sense, here we are again, witnessing a verdict, if you will, sort of, seeing it coming and going, huh, what, kind of thing. Because, like I said, through that whole thing, I just couldn't see how they couldn't see.
Mm-hmm.
How is it that you can't see that this is what this is?
Well, and that's what the moment we're in right now, because that time to not seeing is gone beyond not choosing or not capable, but in essence, you've chosen a side. You may not be your intent, it doesn't matter, because you've chosen. So you've chosen to go to the positive or expansive side, or you've chosen to go the constrictive and the evil side. It's the light and the dark. That's the choice it's being made. Now, unless you're so far in the dark, and then this is something that's a conversation with source, you're going back into the super source, completely into the super source. You can then go in the next choices that you make with source to go for the next embodiment or non-embodiment, for the next few eons to go through. You will go through your trajectories, your experiences, we'll just say the embodiments just won't actually all be that, but we'll choose it as one. Your embodiments for the next several eons will be in that strata of dark, because that's what you've chosen. So in other words, not getting it, or we'll see what's going to happen, or will that be interesting, that was a choosing. It was a choosing, because you're not missing anything, and you're not small.
Well, so I know that there's lots of stuff happening on all sorts of levels, but one of the things that I noticed this morning, first thing when I got up, there was I wish I had the exact thing she said, because I really liked it. Kim Klasick said, "Okay, so now what?" serious question, right? And I guess, I mean, I know which way we're headed with all of this. I do know, and I do feel that, everything is going to be as it is going to be. I'm kind of curious as to what that's gonna be at the moment, because I'm like, we really are
Yeah,
in a
that's what I was going to say.
new and unknown place, aren't we?
Well,
I'm-
we do have, the good thing is that it won't take forever because you got 13 days. Okay, now you got 12,
I got
right? So you got 12 days. And like I said, that's reference to the shoe dropping. So it's absolutely killing them. The proverbial they are shitting bricks because it's now not, we had 13 days and now and day 13 just like, oh my god, it's almost over. And what that's gonna make you a little
I'm feeling like the little child who's been sent to their room waiting for their father to go. You know that.
yeah,
Ooh,
full
sorry.
on, full on. And that's what's, and it's really just a choice of, it will come, in a way, it's the leading, what's the what is the particular tooling and honing of the edge of the spear, the tip of the spear, that will be coming. And he has some choices to make within that, but it will be a spear, and it will come through, and it will be swift. And the next announcement you get will be that, you've got, it'll be a huge earth-shattering announcement. And of course the irony is the constraints that are put upon you will be actually less constraining depending on which emperor you got, in your local thing. It'll be less constraining on than for me, for here, for Emperor Apple Maggot. What, when that gets, and he'll be, and they'll all be, those ones will be all be shipped off as well. So that was what will come in, and it's just the tooling on the tip of that spear might lead with the biological attack. So biological warfare attack, and that may be the main tip of the spear. And everything, nothing, not one piece will be left out. It's all there, right?
Mm-hmm.
It may be that it has to do with insurrection because yesterday was a trap and they've got it all down low. It may be the whole thing about the beginning of the the election is a very good metaphor because it's very tangible and it touched everybody. And even if you weren't paying attention at all, you're looking around going, something's fishy around here, sort of a thing, but I mean, they do, right?
exactly.
So the tip on the spear could be calibrated to highlight that they'll all come out, but and they have certain ramifications, but based on it's backed up by other data that I've seen people bring forward and that I've had come in outside of this physical body. But my own intuition is that based on how everybody chose to comport themselves and the sides they chose to take yesterday into this morning at 3:45 when they certified the things,
Mm-hmm.
it would not be at all a conservative estimate to say that 85% or more of Congress, so the House and the Senate, will no longer exist.
Okay. Well, see, and I hear that, and I'm I feel like you're correct. I don't know how that actually plays itself out, and I guess we'll see.
Well, they're all brought up on charges, and then they winnow out how they may be that they serve a sentence, or that they're dispatched for treason. It could be that they're given, a truth and reconciliation type thing, and they come clean, and then they go off to live whatever their life is they choose, and with you know just like you can't have this, no political thing, no this, no that, whatever. Of course, the political whole landscape is gone. It ended yesterday. Just like when because there's a lot of people around here who have kids. Um, in the spring, I said, they're going to close the schools, and people were like, no, they won't. I said, well, yeah, they will, and they won't ever open again. The way you have them now, and what was being taught in them, will never happen again. They're gone. When schools do come back, they'll be completely different. They'll actually be spectacular. They won't be at all like they are now. And pretty much so far, they haven't come back yet. But they will in a whole new way. So all these things, it's the energy does no longer support it. So that's the thing of the awakeness. It's a 4-season awakeness. Where if you think about superpowers, and you think about spirituality, and you think about different realms and dimensions, and you think about the linear stuff, and you think about the truth tellers, and you think about all this kind of stuff, or you think about the graft, or the pedophilia, or you think about the Illuminati, or you think about the archons, or you think about uh, Anu, or wherever you're thinking about, right, in that whole map. It's all of it, and it's all coming down. There's nothing to reach back into to model for something new, because why would we do that? We're so powerful. We created all of that to the nth degree, and then some, to go as far as we could away from source, to no source, to come back, which is what we're doing now. That's old hat. We don't play in that capacity. We wouldn't even have the capacity to do that. So what we spend a lot of time tonight talking about, of that noticing, of that dancing with that flame, that's your cheat sheet. That's your touchstone. That's your way to navigate the holy hell, what is going on out there sort of thing, with holy hell, what the hell is going on? As Sheila could tell you, is going on in here. Bring the two together and realize that you are the one that you're out there looking for out there, except it's you in here. Because out there isn't getting out there without you. As evidenced by where you are now in bringing this, in all the unwinding and the unbinding that's been happening. You did that. You did that.
Yeah, I haven't been very happy with how slow I am.
Well, have patience with yourself.
No, I know, right? That's where I'm trying to be at the moment, is to have a little bit more patience with myself, and just really just being in a state of allowing as well, because that's just it. I don't know what all I might do here affects whatever I'm doing elsewhere, and how that affects what actually is going on here, and or not.
It's all involved.
I know.
And so here's a linear sentence, which is almost, I think, a complete sentence. Our incredible journey is only just beginning. So that's given from a mortal man in a linear thing, right, to just people in the country, except he's talking to the all. He's talking to all in all of sources multiverses. And he's not just talking about, locking up the rat bastards and, and having the Federal Reserve disappear and no longer putting a diaper on your face. Because that's all, also, that's going to be the easier of the stuff. That's below the fold, and we'll get to the top part of below the fold of the whole new currency, right? And all value and all that is. But it's this stuff that we start about, where you're dancing within an inch of your life to that, because it will. When you first start to play with that, and sometimes even if it's, your millionth time playing with it, it will drop you to your knees.
Yeah, it's your order. Don't go getting all fancy on it, because
And that's a really good thing, because you have brought yourself to this moment because of all of the work that you've done to bring yourself to. Each of us have, in each of our iterations and each of our particularly fabulous configurations and complements, and with all the right upgrades and things. If you think about, you're buying a car, looking at this and going, this upgrade or that upgrade or that, with all those things that were just the right tailored for you.
Yeah. I know that it seems really weird and fantastical at first, but I don't know, the more further along on this journey that I've been going and hanging out with the two of you in particular, uh I can't deny what the experiences have been. And so um, it just feels so huge. I don't even know. I don't have the words most recently.
Mm-hmm.
Well, look, we're giving birth to a whole new world through our own focus and attention.
Intentionally, consciously.
Yes.
And it's not just, there's not going to be, you're not going to be sitting down, meditating with your higher self. That's, like light years above you, because they're all right there. You are all of that now. That's what this means. Right? There's no separation. There's no higher, there never was, but there's no separate from a linear, right? There's no separation anymore. Nobody's left the building.
Even though you do feel like you've left the building.
Yeah, that's real.
Right.
But that's okay, because that's the illusory part of self. So that's all right that that's gone, because now you are your higher self, right?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. There is not, there isn't. And the angels, on frequency wise,
Yep.
yeah, there's a lot of trumpets around you, because you are the trumpet.
Yes.
The
Yeah.
totality of that which you are is now becoming clear to you. And all that you see out there that's crumbling down, or the fuck uppery, or whatever the different ways you would describe it, is the last vestiges of the unwinding and unbinding, and the illusion that comes down, so that the totality of who you are, each being is, comes into full blossom, full form.
it's really quite exciting, even in the disquieting moments. It's still quite exciting. So, and I get it. I do. I get it because, like I said, there's a whole bunch of looking around, going, okay, so where are we now, and what are we doing again? And especially with everything that's going on the world stage right now, it's really kind of hard to keep up with where we are. So
Yeah, that's real.
Everybody
as
take a short nap because the incredible journey is already beginning. It's not gonna begin. It's just beginning, and we
it's
got a
just
lot of stuff to do.
Yeah.
Have you noticed, right? The bet again. So this is another notice. I mean, if I had the actual text of the remarks, I know I would see a lot more. But it used to be, the best is yet to come, right? So now everybody thinks the world's going to hell in a handbasket. Oh my God, what are we going to do? Where he's gone? Oh, no, 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 no. And hang on. Finishing line isn't the best is yet to come anymore. There's no yet. The yet has left the building. There is no yet to come. It's nothing in the future anymore. Our incredible journey is only just beginning.
ah, interesting. I'm glad you pulled that
So
out.
sit just with that. Like I said, these are just my scribble notes. I'm having trouble reading my own handwriting of what I captured that he said or highlighted for me. But there's so much information. If you take the 1 minute, 1 second video from late on the 6th, then you take it's 2 short little paragraphs that was typed text from Potus earlier this morning about 6:50 Eastern time. And then you take I think it's like 4 minutes 30 seconds video from, or maybe it's a little less, maybe it's 2 minutes, from this afternoon that came out about 7 p.m. Eastern time. Okay, just those 3 things are speaking volumes with specificity and particularity.
I need you to let's make sure we put links in the show more section of this video if we
Well, I'm
could.
just gonna for the IUV, I'm gonna pull in all the videos and put them, because one of them I have on my desktop. So, and I'm gonna download the other one and throw that up.
Okay,
It
well,
can't be taken down. But anyways, those are there. I'll put them all with when this renders for me and I put this up. Because one of them you can link, we can find the link because Twitter's banished it, but you can get the IUV portal's Twitter feed link, which has the 1 minute 1 second video. And as of before we started this conversation, the other one was on his feed. I don't know if it's been taken down or not.
I gotcha. Okay.
The one that was last night was taken down because he used the word peaceful. Well, the real reason, here's another noticing. So if you look on the IUV Twitter feed and I put the pieces together when I published the video and then I published part of the Insurrection Act. So the reason that Twitter took that down was because he was filling a constitutional duty that he had to fulfill in order for the next stage to come. Because people would say, well, why would they take down? He mentions the word peace and law and order, no violence. He mentions peace, I think 4 or 5 times, and says everybody just go home. Right? So what in any way could that possibly violate because it terrifies them to death, because it's actually a constitutionally mandated and required notice of information to disband for the insurrection. That's why it got taken down.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of folks, that is, I will say, I will say this about this particular point in history for me personally. I have never paid so much attention to politics, the goings on in our world, like I have now, which,
Which is
you know,
why we
that,
are where we are.
right? No, that's exactly correct, which is exactly why we are where we are. That's
I would hope a lot of people henceforth, whatever there won't be politics as it is now ever again. But
well, no, but I mean, in all honesty, if we all look at that part of the situation, we can all really
well, you're
see very clearly why we are in the situation we are in.
absolutely all 100% complicit.
Right. And so there's that portion, but also at the same time too, that's why, it's really tough to know where we are at and what the next step really is, what our rights really are and are not, and or are not, and that sort of thing, right? All while all of this is really kind of important, I think, on so many different levels. It's just not, I don't know.
For me, the last thing that I would add in is that you're not powerless. Not only are you not small, and not only are you not missing anything, but you're not powerless. And your rights, you wield your rights because they're inalienable rights. They're yours. No one bestows them upon you. They are yours. They're always yours. No one can ever take them away except for you to discard them.
Yep. Well, all of this, all of what we're seeing, every single bit of it. That's why when Lisa reminded me yesterday, this is very much like the experience in Knoxville.
Mhm.
Apparently, it all has to be seen. All of it, all of it, all of it has to be seen.
Yeah.
So the truth of what has been done, it's all very real and it's all very true, and it's all very right out there. It's all very in front of us, and we can believe it or not if we want to, but that's exactly what it's the same exact thing. It's the exact same thing as what I witnessed
Mm-hmm.
in January of 2018. And I guess it had to happen this way. It absolutely had to happen this way because people have to see it for themselves. They have to want to see it. They have to realize that it's been done, that it actually did happen. And this is not, you're not crazy. I know that there's a lot of folks out there that, would want to try to convince you that you're crazy, that whole gaslighting thing.
Then they're going to be knocking on your door in the next couple days.
Mhm.
Well, it's all about to really come floating out. Is that the consensus then? I mean,
Oh, there's not going to be a whiff of floating. It ain't no floating. Crash, bang, bam, boom, cymbals, and yeah, there's no floating.
well, I don't we've seen,
Kind of like a Batman cartoon. Bam, poo, pa, pee, poo, poo, sort of a thing. Yeah.
well, Lisa and I saw an interview with a lady from, oh my gosh, what was that? Nations. Oh,
For something governance,
yeah, but
or right governance, or
at any rate, it's something in regards to a just regular Joe who was doing his job, and he has now signed an affidavit that he is the one who uploaded the instructions in the machines to change the numbers.
Mhm.
He's somewhere in France. No, Italy. This is in Italy.
Yeah.
And he didn't understand, I guess, why they were interfering in the United States election. And after that, I guess he didn't want to deal with it, I guess, or couldn't keep quiet. This
He
is
was
this is
ordered to by the former prime minister of Italy, which is part of the NATO intrusion into the thing. That's that all roads lead to Rome. There's always a very apt saying, but right now in these moments, it's also very, very, very apt saying. It's why the head um, being of the spiritual nature purportedly in Rome hasn't been seen for a while. I'll leave it at that.
right. Why I had heard. And are you speaking on? You're speaking on the Pope? Is that correct? That's what I thought. Yeah. No. I've heard those rumors too. That there's something going on there with the Pope as well. So I guess we'll see about that over the next couple of days.
Well, they're not rumors when it's in the particular being's own voice.
Oh, I see. Well, you see, I
It
haven't
takes it
seen
out of
that.
the realm of rumor and innuendo.
Um, yeah, Lori Wheeler said she saw that interview too. I think the lady's name was Maria Zach is her name.
Yes, that sounds familiar. I think that is it. Yes.
Right. And apparently this information has now been brought apparently
Well,
forward.
his affidavit, the one affidavit you're talking about, is on the IUB.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Well, the truth of the matter is that that's why it's just been really interesting and so sometimes difficult to see and see, sense, and feel these things and know, and because we watched them all happen with Heather, and it's all the exact same thing.
Because
I don't.
it's all connected. It's
It
all.
is. It's
I
all.
hope people are finally starting to get it that it's all connected. Not
It is
one
all
piece is
connected.
not connected.
Nope, that's right. And not one piece is not connected, and it's all functioning exactly as it
Yeah.
was always meant to
Nothing broken. Not a damn thing is broken.
Yep. No, you're right. There's not a damn thing broken at all. It's all the only difference now is we're starting to see it for what it was,
And
what
there's
it
nothing
is.
to fix.
Yeah. Nope. There really isn't. Now,
Working perfectly. It's all coming to fruition and its culmination. It's being beautifully and lovingly and deliciously unwound and unbound by every being. And you know, and now we're just beginning the journey of the amazing stuff.
well, I'm ready. I
So
even
it's time to be a 4-season awake cosmically delicious, kick-ass creator being.
Well, I'll still say I like to think that I am. That's what the goal is. You know, it's like I said, sometimes when you kind of wake up in the middle of something and you're like, okay, wait a minute, where was I now? You just, it's so weird. This has been a really weird one. This experience for me, this particular time around,
Yeah.
has been really weird. I don't think it's done with me yet either. That's the other thing. So I really appreciate everyone's patience because, you know, and here's the interesting thing, for the first time ever, it wasn't as though I feel as though a lot of you were having some of these same things too, because it wasn't in your own sort of way. Because usually when I'm going through something very specific, and usually I haven't done this a lot on the channel, but then I disappear, right? Kind of disappear, go quiet, not doing a lot of stuff. And sometimes, usually, folks will start reaching out to me, right? What's going on, that kind of thing. That did not happen this time. And I have a feeling it's because everyone was feeling sort of the same, not exactly, because we are all doing things differently and bringing new things into this realm, releasing things out of this realm, all kinds of things that we're doing. But I don't know, I had a sense of everyone going through a particular version of what I've been doing for themselves as well.
And then January 6th happened, and they got back, and they were like, "What?"
Well, and I don't feel, and I haven't through all of this, I haven't felt in any way, shape, or form panicked. I haven't felt like, oh, well, you know, especially with all this stuff that's going on the world stage. You know, oh my God, so and so is going to be this now, and oh, that's going to make everything, you know, I haven't felt like that at all either. So that was kind of interesting too, because on the level of, you know, what we're looking at.
Well, it's that knowing. It's that knowing.
Right. Well, it must be
Try
because,
too hard to fight with to overrule that knowing,
right,
then you've got it.
Yeah.
right, which is completely different than what I had going on before, when this sort of thing was, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
This kind of weirdness ensues.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, I hope everything's been kind of, like I said, that's the kind of feeling I was getting from you guys out there, you know, when I would kind of dip my toe in to feel, because, you know, is everybody okay with everything? You know, I was kind of getting an all right, you know, everybody is kind of recognizing for themselves where they are. And I don't feel like there's a lot of panic amongst I don't know, how would you say it, Trump supporters, I guess you could even call it that way, right? It doesn't feel like there's a lot. Am I alone in that? Do you guys feel that or no?
I don't know if there's pen. I think for some, there's happy dances going on, you know, and for some there was a momentary and then either they came to their own realization or they saw something which triggered their own realization. They're like, oh yeah, okay, right. For some there was oh my God, I can't live in a world that's, you know, going to be like this. Because because, you know, they painted a target on their back, which actually they already let that out exactly what was going to happen to people like that anyway, making lists and, you know, brown shirt all over the place. So um, there's been some of it, yeah, you know, and the ones that have been feeling that, I think, were, that's what I say. It's that whole idea of the, you know, the four season awake, or the sunshine, or the four season, you know, through thick and thin patriot, or the sunny day one, you know. It's like anything. Is it, you know, you're either a horsewoman, or you're just, you know, a sunny afternoon occasional trail rider, and they're markedly different things. And and you know, we can't be just sunny day kick-ass creator beings anymore. We need to be all in, always there, you know. Can't say it in a day term because they're because they don't really exist. That's just a construct here. But you know, you're asking you to fully embrace you now. And when you do, you'll wonder why the hell you waited so long to do it. What was I thinking?
Well, I'll tell you, and sometimes it's real easy to get all head up about it too. Okay, so at least it, um, because you know, along with this whole, okay, well, what am I experiencing thing, you know, that I was having again here with this new experience, right? But then there's also that whole starting to judge myself in the moment of having that experience and or not, right? um Having a sort of judgment about the experience itself,
Yeah.
you know, about, you know, whether or not I should be even having this sort of an experience, you know, all those sort of things that come into play, right? Much less what it's all about, right?
Mhm.
um but I don't know if for some reason for me this time around there wasn't near as much of any of that for me. There was a whole lot more of allowing, just allowing,
Great.
feeling whatever it was that I was feeling, not not going into an immediate judgment of what it is, because you know, again, I got all the added nuance of candy and that purchase, right? And what and the how and all of that that goes along with candy, right? So I wanted to make sure that some of what I was feeling wasn't tied to some of that. Remember, because I told you I found myself
Yep.
sliding over into the oh shit, what have I done category, right?
Well, not only it's from my glimpses of it, not only is it allowing, but it's not non-attachment too. I would say that's the bigger piece.
Yes, which is something brand new for this gal.
Right. That's why I brought it up.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
So
why I highlighted it.
right. So that's a so just trying to realize that because that's all connected, and it's all connected very intimately with me and my process and with what's going on
out there.
out there.
Out
Yep.
only gets out there because you put it out there.
Yeah. So
So dance with that. Tim,
right.
your life, and then you'll be really be twirling.
And
Yeah.
now for something totally different.
Yeah, just trying to keep up with that sort of, just not even, I don't know, sort of just sliding into the realization of what that really means. Because what that really means is huge in and of itself. It's like, I don't know, it's everything and then some.
Mhm.
So wow, I love that you guys all came and showed up. Oh wow, there's 18 of you guys. I didn't do any kind of notification except for about, oh, I don't know, 15 minutes beforehand, BZ. I'll let everybody know that we were gonna do this going live. I'm so glad that you guys could all come and join us. Yeah, it is a magical moment in time. I'm really glad that you said it in that particular kind of way too, Team Trump. I really do feel like that is so. And it is really a choice too, whether or not we're going to see it as that, because it's all a matter of perspective. So
Mhm. Well, and it will also be a matter of inescapable, unmissable. Subtlety will have left the building in the very few clicks of the stopwatch here.
yeah,
Just
I know it does. It really does seem. I know there are a lot of folks that are also saying, okay, well, wow, how do we go from where we are right now to where I think we need to go, or where it looks like we are going? I know, because
that's a whole other conversation.
yeah,
Well,
I know.
this is how we're doing it.
Right.
So if you want to know how, just take a look around.
Yeah,
It's pretty
just start,
informative on the
well,
how.
start at the back of beginning of this live. But
Yeah.
and the um each one is taking the step to do that. Each one is picking up the screw and the screwdriver and screwing it in and measuring it and cutting it and painting it and polishing it and hauling the trash away, and but trusting oneself is your entire toolbox, because all the other tools come out of that.
Yeah.
And I go back, I can't say it enough, there's all sorts of I have to get the transcript for this, but the sacred bonds of love and loyalty, those are some of the tools. It's an inside job, and we bring it out and we share it and can have that connectivity with each other being. It'll be new that anything that we've done before, and that's exactly by design.
No, I do feel like that's true.
We can absolutely effortlessly and joyfully get there from here. We can't get there from there, though.
Not going to see where that. Yeah.
Because here we're in the moment, we're noticing, we're present, and we're going forward.
Take action.
We're stepping
Yeah.
into it, right? we're just beginning, and then a little more just beginning, and then just beginning, right? And right, and keep going and keep going and going. We're not fixing, we're not pulling forward from, we're not any of that kind of stuff.
Well, I do feel more and more like there are there are volumes of things that we, each one of us, do. Um, in other realms, in other ways, all the time that we're not aware of. I'm having too much of that being shown to me for it not to be so.
Oh, absolutely. People are working around the clock and all different clocks. A whole lot of different time zones, realm zones.
Right. Right. And some of that, there is a lot of crossover in that.
Yes.
You know,
And you're crossing over and bringing new skills back from another you, and a whole combination of those things, and solidifying that in, integrating that in, coming into coherence with that. Your superpowers are growing leaps and bounds, and you just haven't noticed that new thing on your superpower, super being uniform. Hey, what's that button do?
yeah, no, you're right about that. And that's exactly right, Lori. Lori was just, she actually described very much what, and I didn't think about it and like that until she said, well, of course, with the three of us last night, I told you two that I felt like I was very much in a void space, which is something that Lori just had said. And she said that she thought I was busy with Candy and that, but I was offline. And it sounds like I'm coming back online now. Sometimes, but like I said, I obviously disappeared at least once during this conversation. So, like I said, when those things happen,
Twice.
I don't, it's very interesting. It's very weird, especially when it happens on camera, because it's happened a couple of times on camera with you guys. I leave the building.
It was
I
twice tonight. You had a long, long one, and then a shorter one.
I just simply leave the building. There, I am not in here. I do not know where I'm going. I have no recollection of what I'm doing at all. So yeah, I do look tired. I am a little tired this evening. And when BZ wanted to get together, I didn't have makeup on. So this is no makeup. And yeah, I do. It's been so weird because I can be sitting right next to Lisa and not there. So, but I do think this happens for all of us in different ways, in different things. And I'm okay with this in a way that I'll tell you why it's also coming in like that specifically, Lisa. I just had part of this experience that I've had this evening here with the two of you. Just recently, Lisa had an etheric surgery. I hope it's okay for that to share because okay, that was what your guidance shared it as being, and some of what you were experiencing in your physical body, I shared with you, was absolutely possible in a laparoscopic surgery situation, which I've had laparoscopic surgery several times, right? While I was sitting here sharing with you guys, I've had that same feeling that you've described. I've had that feeling several times. It's coming back again right this second. Yeah, so like it's very interesting. It's a feeling of having air in your body that doesn't belong there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even organs quivering at different times. I mean, I literally felt like I had had a surgery. Literally felt that way. And it was very disconcerting as I have not had a surgery.
Yes, Team
Yeah,
Trump.
this is the transmutation I'm speaking on. You know, we really are changing, right? You know, in our shoes, right where we sit. It's just amazing to me, really. I am just in awe of all of it and enjoying it. Go ahead.
We're a butterfly going from a caterpillar to a butterfly, instead of turning completely to goo in the chrysalis,
Right.
we still we're animated and go around. But yeah, that's
No, exactly right.
a lot
Right.
of stuff. A
But
lot
it's
of
a big
work,
feeling.
yeah, a lot of work's being done on all realms. Plus we're unwinding and unbinding it all.
No, I agree. Well, Team Trump said he woke up sore like he had been in a battle. Sometimes I think that's a real thing too. Like I said,
Oh
you know,
yeah,
it just depends.
I've
Yeah.
come back with
Absolutely.
scars and stuff.
Yes.
I have to run because my puppy decided it's now time to go.
Well,
Since he's escaped, he can't
I
go in the dark without me attached to releasing him. So
I gotcha. Well, I'm really grateful for the two of you coming on and coming out and having a chat. So grateful that everybody was so quick to jump on, and I've missed everyone. We're going to see about trying to get back together, and do some more Gal Pal Posse stuff. If you're not already subscribed to Conscious Conversation Central, I hope that you will do so. Also, if you're watching this on BZ Rieger's channel, come over and subscribe to Conscious Conversation Central, and vice versa. If you are not subscribed to BZ Rieger, make sure and go over and subscribe over there. And now we're going to have a conversation real soon here about a few things, aren't we, BZ? Because, well, there's some stuff coming up about the IUV, isn't there?
yeah, not tonight. We're not having a conversation.
I understand that, but so just look out for that. We're going to have some conversations about what are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing moving forward? Everybody, I think we're all, because I'm not sure at this point. I'm open. Thank you both so much for coming and having this impromptu conversation, and thank you guys all for showing up.
Yeah,
Till
appreciate
next
it.
time. Mwah.
Much love.
Stay in your hearts.
All good advice.